Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the Microsoft Surface Duo. So for those of you unfamiliar with this latest addition to the Surface lineup of products, this is Microsoft's attempt at redefining how we look at smartphones, even though they will continuously reiterate this is a smartphone second, not first. It is a smartphone. It's $13.99 US for the 128 gig version you're looking at right here, $14.99 for the 256, and it has specifications on the inside that reflect flagship of 2019, not 2020. So this device is really all about its form factor and its concept. And when I previewed this device, I reiterated that my concerns were its pricing and essentially that the hardware just isn't good enough for 2020. I was completely wrong. In fact, it's the software and overall execution that is completely off. So an example, you have two 5.6-inch AMOLED displays, 1800 by 1350 or whatever the resolution is, and it's really impressive. I mean, from a hardware perspective, incredibly thin. I like the fit and finish. It's a solid product, a quality product, at least at first glance and touch. But when it comes to the actual experience that I've been going through today, this thing is friggin' awful. In fact, I think the majority of reviewers have been far too kind to this device. Mono speaker for audio playback, a device that can multitask, that you're thinking, well, this can be a consumption device of all different types besides just a multitasking tool. No, it's not going to be one. Here's an example of a video, of course, one of my own. Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Microsoft Surface Duo. Now, the audio on this is pretty terrible. It reminds me of the performance of my Samsung Galaxy Z Flip, except the Z Flip is tiny, pocketable, and at the end of the day, doesn't frustrate me at all. This, on the other hand, has been a nightmare. I was so excited about finally getting to test this out, see how it performed, and it's making me a little bit crazy, I have to say, because again, from the outside, it's beautiful and unlike anything else, and then in terms of performance, it's also unlike anything else in that it's horrible. Now, I'm hoping this changes, but I also understand now why Microsoft had such a tight embargo on top of all of the reviewers they sent their units out to, and most of them have admitted it was because the device was totally unusable up until 5 days ago. And I could see why, because it's still kind of unusable. So one of the things that Microsoft likes to brag about, if it'll even work, is the ability, see, I can't even get it to work, there we go, is to drag things across the display. Now you can see it's highlighted on the left because I can drop it over there. But if I want it to span the two displays like this, it can do that. But functionally speaking, making a video full screen and then trying to watch it this way is totally useless, of course. It should have started playing, and it's not even starting now. I don't know where to begin with this, and I don't know where to end with it. This should be playing, and it's not. Of course, if I change orientation, we have another unplayable, unusable form factor. I mean, I know this isn't what it was designed for, and God help us that we're looking at this schmuck, but the whole point is that I don't know how they're going to sell this thing. I really don't. I mean, it's so buggy, and everything is dependent upon what you just saw me do. A finger swipe up. That's how you gain access to the app drawer, which right now apparently I can't even do. The touchscreen sensitivity seems atrocious. The camera is horrible. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on this, but it really seems like Microsoft, unlike any of the other products in the Surface line, has done detriment to their reputation with this thing. And I say that because, quite frankly, I don't know what this thing does well. And that's why I do feel that reviewers have been far too generous in even saying that this is a C+ device. So far in my experience, I wouldn't just say that you shouldn't buy this. I would say that this shouldn't exist. And that's harsh, and it's realistic because I had a lot more confidence in Microsoft that even if the specifications weren't going to be great, and a Snapdragon 855 from last year, 6 gigs of RAM, non-expandable storage that was meager at its price point at 128 gigs, a single camera, no NFC, no wireless charging, no IP68 rating. Well, we can do this. I mean, holy shit, is anybody serious? And I say that because I don't really care that it can do this. I mean, by the way, this is the only way you're going to use it as a phone because that's your earpiece right next to the camera and the flash. Of course, there are no notifications on the exterior of this device, but I just don't know what they were thinking. I mean, I know what they were thinking, but I don't know what they thought they ended up shipping. Because anyone who touches this, I'm sorry, if you say that this is a good device, you're a liar. It's horrible. And I'm not saying that that can't be changed with updates. I mean, that's why I mentioned that most reviewers have been saying up until 5 days ago, it was unusable. Well, now it's usable, but what kind of infancy state are we in? This isn't even beta, this is alpha testing. And the public shouldn't be getting something like this from the largest software maker in the world. So while this is just an initial impression, and I'm really hoping my opinion changes, I really do, because I want to see a second generation of this. But in its current capacity, I don't see why we would see a second generation of this. Because even though it looks really cool and the hardware is fine, like I said at the top of the video, I thought the hardware was going to be the biggest drawback of this. I thought for sure Microsoft had the software end of things completely ironed out. But instead, what am I greeted with? A complete mess. I can't even call this half-baked. So, look, I'm going to need to spend more time with it. The camera, the whole idea of that it's permanently in selfie mode because there's only one internal camera. You can see now capturing my camera. That's another thing, you got to get used to. Of course, to use it, you just fold it and shoot what you want to shoot. And then you see it prompting the whole select which screen you want to use, which works half of the time. I mean, there is nothing simple about this device. And the fact that anyone could think that this will be a better option than something like the Z Fold 2, which I don't even have yet, I already know is bullshit because the original Fold takes a dump on this thing. Now, when it comes to the aesthetic of these bezels, a lot of people are critical of that. I'm not even critical of that. I was okay with the bezels if the execution, which I expected to be there, was going to be there. I really believed, because I believe in Microsoft, been a shareholder for many years, I believed that the execution would be there from the software side. And yes, if you are a Microsoft user, then you do have access to a lot of applications that you probably already use. But remember, this is Android. This is driven by an Android 10 experience. So I give Microsoft credit where it's due on the hardware and the fact that they're trying to reinvent the OS, but then they should have come up with their own OS. Because right now, in its current state, I don't know how you could use this. I really don't. And everyone who is out there saying that, well, it's great at certain moments and bad at others, again, I gotta call bullshit because so far my experience has been bad all the time. So outside of being, a little oohed and awed by the design and how it looks and feels, once you start to try to use this, you're in a bit of hell. So again, initial early impressions, the camera's bad, software application is bad. It doesn't mean things won't get better. They will. I mean, Microsoft has said they're going to be pushing updates out for this every month. Well, I think I've told you why. It's because this thing wasn't ready to hit the market. And I don't mean like in the way the original Samsung Galaxy Fold wasn't ready because reviewers started peeling off a protective coating and destroying it. I mean the software, which is arguably, more important on this device than anything because that was the whole selling point. I mean, for $1,400, you're getting dated hardware except for the design, right? The concept. And that's where they failed so far, right now. This is, day one. But I got to call it like it is. And on day one, September 10th of 2020, do not touch this thing. Don't even think about being an early adopter. No, I could say that about other products and say, well, the pros are this, the cons are that. Right now, I see no pros other than that this thing looks cool and it feels good in the hand. But as a phone, it's too large. As a tablet, it's too small, and the split screen pretty much ruins its ability to be a tablet. If this was a continuous display like the Z Fold 2 or the original Fold, it would be another story. If it had additional cameras, I wouldn't have to bitch about the single 11 megapixel camera here that doesn't have any optical stabilization. But right now, in its current state, I really have to wonder what the hell Microsoft was thinking. And if it was just that we're all at home bored during the pandemic, so we'll be willing to shell out money to find out, to test this thing, Microsoft, this is going to be very, very ugly. That's all I can say. I had such high hopes for this thing. Even when I unboxed it, I was just like, wow, it's a beautiful piece of hardware. But who knew that that beauty is literally on this device, skin deep only. And that is where things rest right now with me. And I'm so frustrated because I was really excited about this in spite of, again, the lackluster specifications. I mean, again, no 5G, no wireless charging, no IP68 rating, no storage expansion, no NFC for mobile payment. The list goes on and on. But I still thought the software and design could be its saving grace. And right now, as it stands, there just is no saving grace. So, buyer beware isn't even an appropriate approach to this product right now. Microsoft, this is very unlike you, at least in the last, I don't know how many, 5 years since you dropped Windows Phone. And by the way, this kind of makes Windows Phone look good. Can you imagine that? Because at least it was usable. This, on the other hand, this might be the worst at its present state of any manufacturer in terms of trying to adopt their vision to Android. And I don't know how they did, so poorly. I mean, on the hardware, again, beautiful job. Microsoft deserves immense credit. And their want to redefine a space or define a new space, you can look at it that way too, of course, that this is going to be that companion between your computer and your phone that is capable of being a phone, which is what I think they're after. Even there, this thing is a stinky hot turd. This is not lipstick on a pig. This is a pig that smells exactly like it should. It had just rolled in shit. I really have nothing else. I know I'm being harsh, but I am so disappointed. And I just hope that changes, because as it stands right now, this thing looks nice, and that's it. I'll leave you with that. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. And please stay safe. Later.